This bowl is full of wheat berries. The very first video I ever made was about how to grow and harvest and use these beautiful wheat berries. And if you want to check that out, it's this card right up here. But today I'm going to do something brand new that I've never done before, which is make flour out of my wheat berries. And then I'm going to make a loaf of bread out of my own flour, which is very exciting. Now, when I first started growing wheat, as far as I could find, there were no YouTube videos about how to do it. Epic Gardening hadn't started their bread project yet, but since then it's really taken off, and I've started to get a little bit of FOMO for what does it taste like when the flour actually came from your garden. So to make my flour, all I need is my wheat berries here, and this is the mill that I'm going to be using. I feed my grain through the top bit here. It gets ground up in the middle. I'm gonna set it to a fine grind over here, which is still gonna be a lot coarser than supermarket flour, and then it will come out right here. So let me get a bowl to catch it. And typically I use somewhere around 3 cups of flour for a loaf of bread, adjusting a little bit for the consistency as I'm mixing the bread. So I'm going to aim to get about 3 cups of flour from my beautiful wheat berries here. That should be somewhere around 2 and a bit cups of wheat berries. I'm going to turn it all the way on to 10 over here. Get ready for the noise. That is really quite coarse. So I didn't actually have this set all the way to finest. I meant it to be, but you actually turn it a little further. So I'm gonna run it through again and hope I don't break anything. We'll see what comes out this time. Yeah, it's not just between these two. You gotta go all the way around. Whoops, new bowl. We'll turn it on, then we'll go again. Okay, that's way better. So this is the real finest mill grain to use. And it doesn't look that different from store-bought whole wheat flour, despite the fact it's not sifted, which my understanding is even whole wheat flour from the store is sifted. Now, there are lots of different ways to make bread. The most basic is just to add some yeast, if you're making a yeast bread, salt, and water. So that is what I'm going to add to this, and I'll start letting it proof. If I was feeling purist, I'd do this entirely by hand, but I moved up to a stand mixer about 1.5 years ago. Lock. Smells different, hopefully in a good way. Let me turn it off for a second. Okay, I made the bread, but it turned out so flat. I thought I must have just messed something up with how much moisture I used. So I ground some more flour and I made some bread again. And oh my goodness, it's even flatter. Like, look at this. And I make a lot of bread. I mean, I'm hardly in a bakery, but I make all of our family's bread, and I've made it all since the pandemic started. And I was making bread before then as well. So, you know, it didn't rise very well. And maybe there's a way that I could have it rise better. But my first loaf, I tried it, and I tried it 3 ways. Just plain the way it was with some honey and with some butter. And plain the way it was the best. My kids ate it. The little one, the toddler, was gobbling it up this morning. It was so good. Unbelievable. So this funny looking little, yeast risen, you wouldn't believe it, loaf of bread, I imagine is going to actually taste really good. I'm going to do a little taste test here. Got my knife, just a bit. Oh, and whoa. I mean, you can see that there are the nice bubbles. It's got a nice crumb, but it is really quite dense. And it's heavy too. I mean, yeah. But if it's like the first loaf, and it is, although I added a bit more salt this time, that is, that's like the whole, it is dense. It's like the whole wheat bread for people who think they don't like whole wheat bread, but they just haven't had it yet. It's got so much rich flavor. There is nothing bland and Wonder Bread about this. This is like the stuff of life. And it's kind of making me think I should grow a whole lot more wheat and start making more bread. So I've made a lot of work for myself, hopefully not too much for you as well. But there you go, that's my first attempt at making my own bread. A+, worth the effort, worth the grain mill, worth the mishaps. This is really tasty. And however your garden grows, keep growing as a gardener. ASMR in there. Whoop. Shouldn't do that.